Hello, and welcome to the Tiny Human Knits podcast. My name is Laura, and I'm coming to you from Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, where I live with my boyfriend, our cat, and our rabbit. You can find me online as Tiny Human Knits pretty much everywhere, and I will have links to all of my social media and everything else I talk about in the description box below this video, of which there is quite a bit for me to talk about, because I have been... Probably a good word would be to describe it as rambling through projects. I am not doing the best job at doing one thing at a time. A lot of that is to do with the fact that I've had to delay my shop update, which has given me like weirdly free time, which I'm not used to having anymore. But first of all, I'm going to say it is the 20th of November. It's been about 3 weeks since my last update, and yeah. So I've been rambling because, as many of you know, I'm sure, but Canada Post has gone on strike, and I was supposed to have a shop update for my Nutcracker sock sets and my Enoch bags on Friday, and because of the strike, I will no longer be doing an update because I am not going to be doing like alternate shipping stuff unless it goes on for like quite a while, but I'm not gonna get into that. I'm not... My stuff's not gonna go bad, you know? It's fine. I can wait. Everybody else can wait. Hopefully it doesn't last too long, but I'm just gonna delay the update for at least a week. The earliest it would be the 29th of November, which I still don't know. Like, even if they came back to work this week, I don't know if that would be enough time for it to regulate. Either way, hopefully I'll have an update in December and I'll keep you posted. That's for this colorway, by the way. You might notice it's the same as my sweater that I'm wearing. This is the Lyon sweater by Petite Knit. I knitted out of the same colors of this. It's based off of a Gap sweater that I completely stole the design off of, which is fun. Yeah, so that's what the update was supposed to be, but it's just, I will post about it when I know. Again, hopefully it doesn't last too long, but luckily I'm not as much in dire straits as a lot of other people who do a lot of their business, like most of their business at this time of year, so I'm not better prepared, I'm just not as dependent on it. I've been trying to get the rambling out, it's not working. That's okay. Besides what I'm wearing, I don't know if any of you have noticed, but I chopped a lot of my hair off. I have been meaning to get a haircut for many, many moons, and I finally got the chance to do it last week, and I'm very happy with it. It is hilarious. Both my boyfriend and I can't really remember what I looked like before, but I really like this haircut a lot. She took about 5 inches off more than I was expecting, but that's okay. I don't mind. It's delightfully short for me right now because I've had long hair for so long because I just stopped going to the hairdresser years ago. But I'm very happy with it. I'm very excited by it. It's so nice to not have, 2 feet of hair on your head. Anyway, I will move on into finished objects. I think I've got everything covered here. I have 4 finished objects for you today, and as per usual, I'm going to start with socks. So I finished the sample pair of my newest colorway. Still don't have a name for this. Don't know why. It's probably because I've already used all of like the classic Christmassy sort of names and I just can't think of anything else. Blech. But I'm thinking what I might do is I'm gonna try and see if I can dye up some sock sets of this colorway, and then when I have my update with the Nutcracker, I'll have some of these as well. I think I have enough time for that. Pretty sure. But yeah, finish these. 64 stitches. I think it's about 22 rounds of 2x2 ribbing, heel flap and gusset, my hair. That actually might have been the cat's hair. And then just a wedge toe. My new normal. Again, don't know what those are called. And then I actually switched the direction of them, so the green is in the same spot, but then the red and the gold alternate. because it's fun. So that is my first finished object. My second finished object, which I'm very pleased with, is my second travel mode baby blanket. Dun 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 dun. This is a pattern by Susanne Sommer, or So Su Knit, and it is absolutely delightful. It's knit out of Durum Natura Gilead, which is what the pattern is designed in. And it is a modular knit, so you're constantly picking up stitches and doing increases and decreases to make the shape, so you're keeping a lot of your stitches live at the same, or like to keep going. I absolutely love it. It's such a fun pattern to knit because you're constantly changing colors and what you're doing. And then it's all encased in a I-cord edging, which I knit this on a 5mm needle, which is what the pattern calls for. And then the designer uses a 5.5mm needle to do the I-cord. I use a 6mm because I know for most like patterns and gauges, I have a shorter row gauge. So when you're doing an I-cord, it's based on your row gauge. So I just have to go up another needle size in order for it not to be too tight, which I think this is just perfect. The instructions for this are phenomenal. I love making this. I have still quite a bit of like really random amounts of Gilead in my stash, and I'm thinking of making one of these kind of scrappy. Like I could do stripes in these triangle sections, and then not have the same, like this has the same colors mirrored. And I could do it where each one is a different color. And I might have enough of the colors to make it a sort of vintage Christmassy like color scheme. So I'm really thinking I might do that because I have no idea what else I'm going to do with this Gilead. Like I have a lot of like partial balls of it. And then one, like I've got this random skein of just whatever. So, because I've been using it for so long and I have quite a few projects knit out of it, I have very strange amounts. Like I probably have enough of this sort of gold color to do one smaller wedge, or maybe even just part of the stripes in this section. So I really want to try and do that just to like get it out of my stash, use it up. This is the perfect size. If you're making it for yourself, it's a really nice lap size blanket. I did make this though for my nephew Callum because his big brother Axton got one last year and he really likes it. So this is his Christmas present for this year. So I will be packaging it up. Luckily, a lot of the Christmas gifts I've made this year, the people live either really close together or they will see each other at Christmas. So I'm probably going to just do a big box with all of the stuff I've made going that direction and just send it by either Purelator or like FedEx or something like that and make sure that they can get it, because otherwise I'm hooped. I've made all these things for so long for no reason. But also, hopefully Canada Post, again, gets back to work after they get what they're needing, you know. But yeah, this is all like basically garter stitch. There's 8 rows of purling in total, and it's in the like contrast section. So it is mostly knitting, big squishy garter. It is fantastic. I really, really like this. I'm very happy with it. I was happy with the first one. I'm happy with the second one. I would be happy to make a third one. My hair is everywhere. Yeah, by the way, cutting your hair off doesn't make it stop falling out of your head. Unfortunately. So my third finished object is so stupid. I talk about all these things I want to make people for Christmas and I'm like overwhelmed by it. And so what do? I add more things to make for Christmas, which is ridiculous. But my boyfriend Jason has a friend who lives in the north whose family has been going through the north of Alberta. They're going through a little bit of a health thing right now. So I thought it would be really nice to make their little girl an outfit, basically. And it's so silly. So I'm sending some socks for, woman's name is Darby. So she's going to be getting 3 pairs of socks. I've given her socks the last 2 Christmases because they come to visit every year. They won't be able to come this year. But every time they come to visit, I give her a pair of socks, or like a couple pairs of socks, because she has the same size foot as I do, which is great. And she really, really likes hand knit socks. So I'm sending her some socks, and they've got a little girl who's just over 1 year old, And I decided I wanted to make the most ridiculous outfit ever. So firstly, I dyed this yarn for this project specifically. And I knit her a Tailor Sweater, which is a pattern by KnitsDuNord, I think. I'll have it linked in the description. And this is what the sweater looks like. I can see it reflecting on my phone. It's so bright. So it's this fluorescent orange color. And it's just a basic raglan. And what I find so interesting, so I dyed 2 skeins of DK for this at the same time, in the same pot. And you can still see the line of the different skeins where I changed the skeins on both sleeves, which I think is hilarious. It's for a 1-year-old. I actually don't care that much, but that really goes to show you the importance of alternating your skeins when it comes to hand-dyed yarn, even if they were dyed at the same time. It got dunked in the pot at the same time, completely the same, which I think is so odd. But yeah, that's where I added. It's also in the ribbing at the bottom, but it's harder to see because that's where I had to switch out the color. But I just think this is so cute. I have knit this sweater quite a few times. This is kind of what I use for my basic raglan for children, just because it's so, like, the pattern designer has a lot of really nice patterns, but this one's just a great sort of simple, straightforward pattern. It's really nice. So that, and then to go with it, I have made something I've made before again. It's the Flutter Pinor by Oh Me, Oh My Sewing, and it is this right here. So I will have a bright orange sweater with a camouflage pinafore. It's so silly. It is so silly indeed. This is, I've made this once before for my niece Mira, and it is a really nice pattern. I really like the way it's written because it kind of, it's one of those patterns that there's hardly any exposed seams at all, and there is, like, you can make it slightly easier. If you have an overlocker, there's a way that you can make it, and then if you want to enclose most of your seams, there's a way to do that as well. So it's got cat hair on it. But yeah, it's actually a really straightforward pattern to make. It looks a lot more complicated than it actually is, but Jason picked the fabric. I made him pick between a couple of different fabrics, and he thought this one was the best. It is a real tree fabric. I bought it at the local fabric store, Fabricville. And it's really, really cute. And I know for a fact, because so they're hunting people, and like John is constantly bringing their daughter on the quad with them and like having a great time. She's just little. It's so funny. So I just think they're really gonna like that. It is really cute though. It's so silly. It is so silly. And this only took a couple hours to make, so it was really no trouble at all. So that one I might get Jason to ship those because I want them to get them before Christmas, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't. That's fine. Okay, now I will move on to works in progress. My main one that I'm trying to finish so I can send all of my Christmas gifts in that one box is the last of the kids' sweaters for my cousin Kayla, who has 4 daughters. And I did not want to cast this on. I really don't like knitting with acrylic. I have learned it's just a preference. Like for me, it kind of slows me down when I'm knitting. But I'm just trying to get through this one. And I left the largest size for last. I don't know why I did that. But this is, I'm making the little Pop Cardigan again, which it's just as bad as it was last time. It's a terrible pattern. I do not recommend, but I needed it for the numbers because I wanted the 2 sweaters to match. But so far, I'm not that far from being done. This is what I've got. So I'm working on the first sleeve. The buttonhole edges are curling in, so they are finished. You knit them at the same time. It's a 1x1 ribbed button band. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm almost done the first sleeve. I love how big these sleeves are. I quite like cardigans that have big loose sleeves like this, so I hope she really likes it too. But the only things I have to do is after I finish the first sleeve, I'll knit the second sleeve, and then I need to just finish these edgings. So you knit the button band as long as you need to, graft it in the back, and then sew it down to the edge here. It's got lovely 3-needle bind off shoulders, which I always just absolutely adore. I love the line that 3-needle bind off makes. And then, yeah. One of my favorite things about drop shoulder designs is when you're picking up the sleeve stitches, what I always do is I just count how many rows I've knit and around both sides, and then just divide that by the number of stitches you need to pick up, and that kind of gives you the pickup rate. Because my row gauge for this was not the same as the pattern, so I had to knit more rows to get the length, and the recommended pickup rate in the pattern was 4 out of every 5, but the way I calculated it, it was basically 75%, so it was 3 of every 4 stitches. So if you ever have trouble picking up stitches for your sleeves, that's a really easy way to figure it out. Just do a little bit of math. I'm almost done, and I will have enough yarn. I'm just about going to need to break into my last ball of this, and then I'm done. I am done. I'm not doing that again. Please don't let me do that again. And actually, I have decided that next year, and I really mean it this time, I swear, next year, when it comes to gifts, I can't make anything for anyone unless I have every bit of material that I need. If I have to buy anything to make someone a gift, I'm not allowed to make it, because I am so bad for making gifts all of the time. I've spent most of the year making things for other people, and I need to stop that, because I have a tendency to buy yarn for gifts or make yarn, and then the stuff in my stash just sort of sits there longer and longer, and I need to stop doing that. And there are so many things I want to make, but I keep prioritizing gifts, which is not great. Yeah, anyway, this is the 6-year-old size. Again, wouldn't recommend the pattern, it's awful. So many mistakes. That hasn't changed since I've been making a different size. It's still riddled with mistakes. My next work in progress is actually kind of funny. So I started knitting on this more consistently because I did not want to work on the cardigan, but that's sort of helpful because it's meant I got a little bit of progress on it. But I've been working a little bit on my Souffle by Penrose. It's very slow going because it's single-stranded mohair and so many stitches. But this is as far as I've gotten, which is quite a bit of work. So I've just gotten to the point where I'm doing the 3rd round of increases, and I have done the join. So I've got my keyhole opening in the back, and then I've done my join. So I have 2 more inches or so to go before I add the ruffle row, and then add the second strand of mohair and then the ruffle row. So, but yeah, I've literally been knitting on this because I've been avoiding another project. So. But I'm really excited to have this. I think it's really adorable. I dyed this mohair for this project specifically. It is in my Brick Dust colorway. And I accidentally realized the other day, so I use, when you buy bare yarn to dye, this is a 50-gram skein. So I dyed 4 skeins. And I definitely don't need 4 skeins. I misread the pattern that said you needed 4 balls of 25 grams. So I'm definitely going to have 2 whole balls of this left over. That's all right. And yeah, that's what it looks like with the 2 strands held together. Very nice indeed. Very nice indeed. But yeah, that's going to continue getting really casual work. I'm not in a hurry. That doesn't need to be done soon. It's just for fun. Just like there's quite a few. I want to say 4, but I can't remember what the 4th one is. I've got a few patterns, like projects, and oh yeah, I know what it is. I've got 4. The Souffle, my Cumberland pullover, which is the all-over lace in the white that I started in the spring. And then I've got my colorwork vest that I'm making for Jason, and then the mohair plaid sweater that I'm making for Jason as well, that are ones that I would really like to get done next year, but they're all really time-consuming projects. One at a time. One at a time. What else? What else? I've got... Well, that's kind of a finished... I'll show you. I also started something else completely out of just desire to have something quick and fun to make. But I have this book just called Modern Top-Down Knitting. I actually have both versions of this. The other one's called More Modern Top-Down Knitting. It's by Kristina McGowan. These are not size inclusive much at all. And also, it's funny looking, because I've had this for a few years, it's funny looking back at some books that I have and realizing that I don't really like any of the projects. But this is one that I wanted to make for a really long time. And it's called The Feather Dress. I don't think I'm... Let's do this. It's called The Feather Dress. And this is knit out of like a chunky wool. This is technically the pattern they knitted out of is 100% baby alpaca in a chunky sort of fluffy yarn. That is not what I'm using. I am using Drops Alaska? Yes. Drops Alaska in the color 61, which I bought for a different project and I just have it lingering. And then also a strand of Surrey alpaca that I dyed for this specifically. Actually, no, I didn't. It's out of my stash. I don't know what I'm talking about. And it's knit on 6mm needles. And I'm at a sort of strange point right now because I actually finished the bodice the other day. But I realized... So it's going to be curling up, but this is the bodice portion. It's knit on 6mm needles. It will go so fast. You get to this point and then you actually crochet in a piece of elastic so it goes into it's sort of like an empire waist. But I've tried it on a few times and the back just comes up. The way that you do the back comes up too high. Got an emergency notification on my phone. Anyway, as I was saying, when you finish the back, it comes up really high. Like when I put it on, it was really quite high. So what I've decided I'm going to do is I'm going to restart it. And I'm actually going to do the shaping that you do for the front. You knit it a little bit and then you do the shaping. What I'm going to do for the back is I'm going to do the same shaping, but I'm going to start it right away. So it's higher, but the same sort of nice V shape. And I think that will fit a lot nicer. And also, like, because I really liked the shape of it. I know it doesn't look like anything like this, but I really like the shape of it on me. I'm quite small busted, so it's not really a problem when it comes to that. So, but yeah, so I'm going to rip this out and start again. And hope it works. It's an odd sort of idea. And also, actually, what I should say as well, I'm going to hold a smaller needle for I'm going to use a 6mm for my knit rows and a 5.5 for my purl rows, because I have found with this chunky style, I am rowing out a bit. I noticed that with the cardigan that I'm knitting for my cousin as well. I was rowing out with that yarn. So I used a 4.5mm needle for the knit rows and a 4mm for the purl rows, and it's so smooth and neat. So I'm really, if that's something that I'm starting to do because, I don't know, a tension change maybe, I'll be doing that. So that one, honestly, I might, as soon as I'm done my other stuff, I might cast that on again because it is really cute and I would really like to have it. I have 2 more things. 3 more things, bugger. So these are all sewing projects. I have this pattern. Oh, I need to fix that. I have this pattern. No, it's not a pattern. That emergency notification kind of threw me off a little bit. I saw this tutorial for a hot pad, a pot holder. It's a free tutorial. It's a video online on YouTube that I'll put in the description. And it's such a simple pattern and it's so cute. This is my trial one, so it's not perfect. I'm going to change a few things. But it is a pot holder. It is so cute. Shockingly easy to do. it's just tedious. It's like fiddly, not tedious. Fiddly. But it's a little pie. Yeah, and she tells you everything you need to have for it. It's just binding, like pre-made binding you can buy at the store, and then rickrack. I bought the jumbo rickrack. I bought this from the fabric store as well. They had it in there. It's not in the pre-packaged things. It's in the, like, by the yard. So I have a lot of it. I overbought by, like, quite a bit. And yeah, so there's a couple things I'd want to fiddle around with this particular design. This was just to get a feel for it, but I love it so much. It's so cute. This one I might actually use as a pot holder, you know, put hot things on it. The other ones I don't know if I'd have the if I'd want to use to get them dirty, but I don't live like that. I can always make more. But yeah, I'll have that linked down below. It's so cute and it's so easy. It's just a matter of taking your time stitching the lines, basically. So cute. But yes, the other two sewing things are because I love having soft goods in my house, especially themed soft goods. I made a table topper. It was either last year, I think it was the year before last, which was a Halloween themed table topper. And I love having it on the table in the fall, like October time. But the pattern that I bought actually comes as a dual pattern. It has a Halloween version and a Christmas version. So I thought I was finally going to make the Christmas version. So I did. I haven't finished it. I've just made the top. I need to baste it and quilt it. But this is what it looks like. It is a pattern by CarriedAwayQuilting, which I will link the pattern below. And it's like a plaid star, whatever. The other one has pumpkins and like black stars. It's so cute. But I had a fat quarter set in my stash that was sort of a vintage Christmas themed fat quarter set. So that's what I used for this. Everything besides like the background colors. And I cannot wait to finish it and put it on my table. It's gonna look so pretty. It's very, like, it's pretty simple to make, and her instructions are very, very clear. So I want to baste that and quilt it. I'll probably hand quilt it, because in my Halloween one, I hand quilted around the stars, which I think is just, it looks so beautiful. So I might do that on this as well, and then maybe do a couple lines of just quick hand quilting, just to keep it together. But after I made this one, I bought a pattern from the same designer, CarriedAwayQuilting, and it's for a table runner because I also have a sort of like hutch style table just over there that has all of our seasonal decor on it, which is like my favorite part of the living room. But I made a like a Halloween one, a table runner, to go underneath, and I love the way it looks. So I needed one for Christmas as well. So from the same designer using the same fat quarter set, I've made this one, which also needs to be basted and quilted. If you could see how janky my seams are, you would laugh because I'm so bad at this. I was saying to Jason, like, I'm not a talented quilter. I'm talented at making it look like I'm a good quilter. I'm really not. I'm a bit impatient. But it looks nice. I just think it's really cute. I love these colors. I'm kind of thinking, because I have quite a bit of that set left, I might see if I can't make like a lap or a couch quilt out of these same colors, because I think they're just beautiful. Because Jason and I both prefer, when it comes to Christmas decorations, natural, handmade. Like, we do a lot of wooden decorations, and I make them, and I have a few handmade that were gifted to me. One was like, it's a carved Santa head that my friend Rowan gave to me, which I absolutely love. And we do a lot of like dried orange slices, and honestly, we would probably do candles if that wasn't a huge hazard. But I really love a sort of classic vintage Christmassy sort of look. So that's usually what most of my Christmas decorations are, which I'm really happy about. I love them. So those are going to fit in perfectly. The table runner might have to be trimmed down a bit width-wise because it's kind of too big for my hutch, but that's okay as well. We'll figure it out. I don't know. We'll see. But I might try to baste those today and then just have them on the couch to hand quilt as and when, because I'm very distractible these days. But yeah, I'm really, really happy with those. Honestly, if any one of you has been thinking of starting to quilt or like just giving it a try, just give it a try. When I first started, I was dreadful. My first quilt, and I sewed project bags before I started quilting, which is a great way to learn, like, to get more comfortable with your machine, and straight stitching and all that is great. My first quilt that I ever finished, I tell this to people all the time, I'm pretty sure I sewed every single seam 3 times. Me and my seam ripper were like tight. It's amazing that it looks decent at all, and I actually still love it, but it was mangled. I had to try really hard. But if you, like, just go for it. Just go for it. The only thing that's going to happen is maybe it doesn't look very good. I don't know. But if it still functions, it's great. I want everybody to quilt because it's so much fun. If you want to. I know there's a few people who it's the last thing in the world they'd like to do, but I really like it. So I have one future project that I'd like to start soon, and that is because I dyed up. So earlier this year, I was sent the wrong mini skeins in one of my Berry Yarn orders. I ordered DK and they sent me fingering weight of a base that I don't use. So I decided, because I ordered so much of it, I decided I would save it and dye a few advent calendars with what I'd been sent. So that is what I did. I dyed 12 advent calendars, and I mostly just sold them to the people from like the occasional knitting group that I go to because I told them about it. And then I sold the leftovers, thank goodness, just in time for them all to be either delivered to Canada or cross the border. So everybody got theirs, which is great. But long story short, so I dyed this advent calendar, and I decided what I wanted to do with my advent calendar is I actually wanted to make another Leon sweater, which is the one I'm wearing, by Petite Knit. And so I'm going to be marling the whole 24-day advent calendar into a sweater. But to start it off with, and to prevent any like jogs like I've done with this one, I've dyed up a color that's right before day 1, which I'm going to use to knit the back panel, and then I'm going to knit it to the point where it's below the collar and the sleeves are started, and then that way I can pick up the collar in the same color, and that is this color right here. So in the next week, I would like to start that because it's only 10 days until Advent starts, or the countdown starts. So I want to get that done to the point where I can start marling the color. So the way I'm going to do it, I think I figured out the calculations of this. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to marl it. So I'm going to hold, so the first day is going to be marled with this one for 2 rows, and then I'll knit 2 rows with just day 1, and then the next 2 rows will be day 1 and 2 held together, and so on and so forth. And I think it's either 2 rows or 3 rows, which is in the round, so it's not that big of a deal. But I have to calculate that because I can't quite remember. So it's going to be a very like short marling section, but I did it in a sort of like earthy tone gradient, so hopefully that will not look terrible, which it might, I don't know. We'll find out. But that's what I'm planning on doing, so I'm going to hopefully cast that on soon. Hopefully. And then I'll probably have a bunch left over and I don't know what to do with it, so we'll figure it out. I think that's everything for today, which is quite a bit going on. I'm still making Enoch bags. They're very time consuming. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll probably dye some of that Christmas colorway, and then hope that Canada Post opens back up in time for Christmas. See? I don't know. And then I am in the mood for sewing. I really am. Not just the Enoch bags, but like quilty type sewing stuff. So we'll see what I end up getting up to. Who knows? Anyway, that is it for now, and I will see you next time. Hopefully you're all having a great rest of your week. So yes, okay. Goodbye!